Not good.
What?
Didn't I tell you? You got a hard head, huh? Didn't I tell you? Every time you play against me, the strap.
All right, man. It's 8 o'clock in hot ass California, and I just witnessed a first half Indianapolis manslaughter. Obviously, I watched the rest of the game. The Cavs pretty much made their run. They only lost by 20, but the game was already over at that point. So it was just like, yeah, it was one of those games where, like, you look at the final score, it's like 120, 129, 109, but really it should have been like 129-79 the way this game's going. But Cleveland decided to play hard in the entire second half when the game was virtually out of reach. So this is not going to be like a series recap vid, but this is just like I mean, it could be. It depends on what happens in games 5 or 6. Game 6, I may do a series recap on this series, but if not, and the Pacers go on to win Game 5, I think, which I think I will title this series recap episode. I think this will be episode 7 of season 3, or like the revitalized series recap. I gotta look at the series, which, by the way, as I'm looking at it, series tied at 2 between the Thunder and the Nuggets. My quick thoughts on that series: I think the Thunder. I picked the Thunder to get out of this series, but I think this has 7 games written all over it. I do think Denver goes up 3 games to 2, but I think the Thunder win out the rest of the way. Minnesota leads 2 games to 1. I think the Warriors are in trouble, and I think the Knicks are sort of in trouble, but I think you'll see them come out with that same energy on Monday Monday night, tomorrow night. Okay, so Game 5 in Cleveland. Game 5 will be this Tuesday in Cleveland, Ohio. All right. So if nothing else changes, I will title this series recap. I think this will be episode 7 or 8 of this series, which, give it take what you will, I thought the Cavs were actually going to make a stand up after winning that Game 3, especially in the fashion they did, y'all. Like, I saw Cleveland get up 23-8 in Indianapolis. Pacers did everything they could to tie, but you could tell that everything was just the house was already on fire, and Cleveland just pulled away for the rest of the game. Tonight, this game wasn't even a damn contest. You know, once the Cavaliers got up 14-5, and then I think it was later 23-8. I think that's what they went up by, or maybe I'm mistaking it for the Nuggets game that I watched earlier. But once they got up 38-23, the game wasn't necessarily over, but the Cavs had a lot of work to do. And then by the time it was about by the time the half is about to end, this is what I'm trying to say. The score was like 37-62. Not like too bad of a lead, because I've seen, teams like the Thunder come back down 29 against the Grizzlies. I've seen multiple 20-point comebacks. I've seen the Clippers tried coming back against the Denver Nuggets down 20. I've seen the first 2 games of the Knicks Celtics series. But out of nowhere, Aaron Nesmith hits a fadeaway 2. Miles Turner started getting it going. Tyrese Halliburton hits a deep 3. And, bro, to cap off a 19-2 run to end the half, Miles Turner hits a 3-point shot that I would only see Steph Curry or Damian Lillard hit. That's how bad it was getting for Cleveland. And by the time Miles hit that 3, it was just like, turn out the lights. This game is over. This game's over, man. So what I didn't like about this game at all is that they tried going to the 3-2 zone, but Kenny Atkinson didn't really make any adjustments. Because I thought the best thing he did after games 1 and 2 was applying that zone defense. That really put pressure on the Indiana Pacers, and it took Tyrese Halliburton out of his game. Last game, the game before, he had 4 points off of 2 of 8 shooting, and no one really followed suit. No one was really able to step up and come to the rescue. You know what I'm saying? Like, the 2-3 zone broke their rhythm, but I think once Rick Carlisle figured out how to break the zone, and Tyrese Halliburton figured out how to break the zone, Kenny Atkinson should have at least went back to man defense, because I don't know if they were playing a 3-2 zone or a 2-3 zone. Let me know in the comments. But once the Pacers started figuring it out, I don't know why he kept on going back to it, especially since the Pacers are now hitting their shots. The Pacers were hitting long-range bombs all over the place. Aaron Nesmith was looking like freaking Michael Jordan with some of his fadeaways, bro. Anthony Edwards with some of his fadeaways. You know what I mean? So, I don't know, bro. Like, this game was bad for Cleveland, and it was just like, it's such a waste because I have been one of Cleveland's doubters, but I decided to give this team a chance as soon as the playoffs started and they had to face the Miami Heat in the first round. So I decided, you know what, I'm going to give this Cleveland team a chance because they have a lot to prove, and I actually do like their players on the squad. I like Darius Garland. I've always loved Donovan Mitchell, especially since he was with Utah. Jared Allen's cool. I like Mobley. He's a dog of a defender. Well, at least he didn't show this game. He didn't show this game that he was a dog on defense because he got dog walked. Him and his boys got dog walked. But my point still stands, bro. My point still stands. I wanted to give this Cleveland team a chance, and I gave them a chance, especially since they beat the Miami Heat in the first round. I was just like, okay, maybe this team actually might make a stand-up. And I picked the Cavs to win in 7, which it still could happen. That's why depending on this series and how this goes, I may change it to series recap episode 7 or episode 7. If not, the conclusion of the series will be after game 6 or 7. That's when I'll title it series recap episode 7. But if Tyrese Halliburton and the boys go into Cleveland and absolutely belt the hell out of the Cavs in their own home gym, then I'll say, you know what? This will be series recap episode 7. So just keep that in mind, y'all. But apparently I didn't catch it because the game was already over and my mom, dad, and I were watching something else at that point. Excuse me. The Donovan Mitchell hurt his ankle, and he was already playing on a calf sprain, or calf strain, I should say, not sprain, and then he sprained his ankle, and he didn't return for the rest of game 4. Darius Garland got going, but again, that was just all too late. You're pretty much putting out a smoldering fire with tap water. That's literally what the Cavs quote unquote run in the rest of this game was about. Maybe they'll make a stand up in game 5. I don't know Donovan Mitchell's injury status, but he is very doubtful. He was doubtful to return to this game, and I gotta listen to Kenny Atkinson's update on Donovan because they definitely need him for game 5. And here's the thing too, bro. Donovan Mitchell has been balling the hell out of his mind this whole entire series. He's been balling out of his mind. So I said, if Donovan Mitchell has a bad game, then you know what? Congrats, he earned it. He's been carrying this team. He's been keeping this team afloat. It's the others that had to come along. Jared Allen, my starting center, only gave me 2 points and 2 rebounds, 0 blocks, or he had 1 block. Yeah, that 1 block really did something. It did it. Darius Garland had 21 points, but again, those points came when the game was decided. But maybe this will be good for him going into game 5, and potentially game 6 if it should make it that far. Garland could do some damage. And it could get Darius Garland back into his rhythm. Strus had 11 and 6 rebounds, but again, like, he hit his shots. I think the context of that is that, yeah, he was pretty efficient, 4 of 9, 3 of 7 from 3, but those looks came early in the game when the game wasn't even out of reach. And then Evan Mobley with 10 and 5. I need a lot more than that. Ty Jerome, their best bench player, had 7 points, and DeAndre Hunter, who everybody was raving about, and I love DeAndre Hunter myself, he only had 5 points. 0-4 from the field. All 5 of his points came from the free throw line. And I said, if DeAndre Hunter is the answer to your problems, then that probably shows why you guys aren't as good as you seem to be. You know what I mean? Like, and that's no disrespect to DeAndre Hunter, but a lot of people were acting like DeAndre Hunter was the second coming of Jesus when the Cavs made this trade. Yeah, it's a good trade, but it's just like, come on, guys, like, let's chill out. Let's see what this team can do in the postseason. And now they absolutely got belted. Donovan Mitchell is now injured. And again, apparently, wait, what? Donovan Mitchell ankle injury during halftime warmups. Oh man, that's wow. That's gosh, bro. Wow, that sucks, bro. So I just recently watched Kenny Atkinson's Up Down Donovan Mitchell. Donovan will get an MRI tomorrow. But regardless if he was hurt or not, the way the Cavaliers played in this first half, obviously we know it's unacceptable. But it's just like that was just pathetic and embarrassing to what was an amazing season for Cleveland. This was their best season since arguably the 2016 season, or it had potential to be as good as that. And this was their first 60-win season since 2010. That was with a young LeBron on the squad. He was a back-to-back MVP at the time, and his team got kicked out of the playoffs in the second round, and LeBron took his talents to South Beach. And then obviously that was the same season where I for some reason I randomly remember this. Sundaya again said the game winner in his eye. I don't know if it was in his eye, but it was against his team. So, but bro, this was just a beatdown. But let's talk about the Pacers, man. The Pacers, they're showing that they're much better than everyone thinks they are. I even thought that they were not as good. Obviously, my point still stands. If Dame and Giannis were healthy in the first round, like fully healthy, I think they get by Indiana, but it would be like a tough 6-7 game series, especially with how they fought in game 2 and how they fought in game 5. They even had sustainable leads in game 5, but they ultimately they tanked the game. But the Pacers are showing, and a lot of people are saying, well, they never played a healthy Cavs team, and this, that, and the other. But the problem is, this time they did, and the Cavs got absolutely belted, and then Donovan Mitchell suffers an ankle injury. So, yes, the Pacers would have lost last year if Jalen Brunson and OG Anunoby were healthy. Now they have Mikal Bridges and Karl Anthony Towns, which I think that should be an exciting series should they get out of this series against the Boston Celtics, which I am very, very freaking unsure, bro, with how that will go tomorrow. But I just wanted to come on here and just give my quick thoughts. Cavs got absolutely belted, and they had no answers after that. Like, they tried making a run, but again, the game was already decided. So, yeah, 129, 109, you think, okay, it was like a competitive game, and then 5 minutes, they're up like by 20 plus points. They take their stars out. But this game was over after the first half. This game was over after the first half. The Pacers they just went cold, and they didn't really try all that much in the second half. But now the thing is, for game 5, I want to see if the Pacers have that killer in them. Similar to what Ant and the T-Wolves did to my Lakers in the first round, and Lord knows I don't want to bring that up, but I'm going to. But I really want to see if Indiana has that killer instinct, and they showed it in Game 5 when the Bucks went up 20. Bobby Portis, AJ Green, Gary Trent Jr. were going crazy. Giannis was playing like an MVP, but unfortunately, on the flip side of things, they were able to come back and ultimately win it in overtime. So the Pacers have shown that they have that killer mentality, and they have the ability to close teams out. But can they do it against a team that is supposed to be as good as the Cleveland Cavaliers? I personally think they can. So to wrap up this video, I really want to say this. The Pacers really have 2 chances to win this series. They have Game 5 in Cleveland, and if they're unable to get that game, they have to win Game 6 on Friday. Because if they don't win Game 6... Wait, is Game 6 on Friday? It should be. Let's see. I'm checking it out. Game 6 on Thursday. My bad. Game 6 on Thursday. So if they don't win Game 6 on Thursday in their home building, they're going to have to go back to Cleveland on Sunday, where anything can happen. And I think that anything for Indiana will be bad if they let this go to a Game 7. But I think they know what's at stake. I may have the Cavs winning Game 5, or I have the Cavs winning Game 5, but if they tank that game, this will officially be Series Recap Episode 7. And I just want to say, I was actually talking to my dad at the beginning of the series. He said this was a bad matchup for Indiana, was a bad matchup for Cleveland because Cleveland can go at the same pace and speed and tempo that the Cleveland Cavaliers do. And, they had bigs that could bang with Mobley and Allen and Siakam and Turner. And then you have Obi Toppin coming off the bench. Yeah, the Cavaliers, they look like they have a deep roster, and they do have players that can play, but Indiana, I think they're longer and they're more athletic than Cleveland, in my opinion. I know DeAndre Hunter and then Donovan Mitchell is a freak athlete and yada, 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 but I think the length and the sizing, the athleticism Indiana has is posing a lot of problems for Cleveland. So it doesn't matter if Cleveland's getting into that zone. And then you just don't know whether Indiana's going to hit their shots or not. So, yeah, I just wanted to come on here and just give my quick take on the Cavs absolutely getting belted by Tyrese and the Pacers. And I have the Cavs winning in 7. It still could happen. But right now, the Pacers are showing that they're the better team and they're playing like the better team. Because right now, it's not even about if Cleveland has the best record anymore. Because, they're showing that they're up there with teams like the 2023 Bucks, the 2022 Suns, the 2021 Jazz, the 2010 Cavaliers, the 2018 Raptors. I was going to actually make a video in the middle of this year saying that was going to be similar to my Jazz video. If you guys haven't checked out my Jazz video from 2021, go look on my timeline, go scroll down, and I think it's titled "Are the Utah Jazz Legit?" or something like that. And my same discernments with the Jazz ultimately came true those playoffs when they blew a 2-0 lead against the Clippers, and then Terrence Mann came in and absolutely humiliated Rudy Gobert and Donovan Mitchell. The same thing's happening 4 years later, this time with Tyrese Halliburton and Miles Turner. And then Donovan Mitchell's a part of that team too, ironically. So I had the same discernments then, and I was going to make a video about the Cavs, but life things and all the other stuff, and I just recently got back into YouTube, and I really didn't have much motivation at the time like I do now to make these videos. So, but my points that I made in my Jazz video in 2021 would have stood with this Cavs team, and right now they're showing that the Cavs are up there with the 2018 Raptors, the 2010 Cavaliers, the 2022 Suns, and all the above. So I don't know, man. This is very bad for Cleveland, and as far as I'm concerned, this will be the best it'll get in the Donovan Mitchell era of the Cavaliers, unless they somehow get LeBron James back. So, yeah, these are my thoughts, guys. Whatever you guys think, please type your thoughts in the comments below. Do you guys think Cleveland will come back, or do you think this series is a foregone conclusion come Game 5? Yeah, hit that subscribe button, y'all. All right, I'm done here. Yeah, Pacers in 5. I'm sorry, Pacer fans. I underestimated y'all. I completely bowed down to Miles Turner and Tyrese Halliburton. But yeah, anyways, that's the end of this video. I'm X. Deuces.